Welcome to the highlights. It was a day where England were looking right down the barrel at the start, with the West Indies having done so wonderfully well on Saturday with some really exhilarating cricket. 354 for 5 was the starting score today. Logie was 69, Dujon 45, and some magnificent stroke play from both Greenwich and Richards. The bowling figures reflected that. Although England stuck to their task pretty well, the drop catches were the main problem. 2 wickets to Dilly and 1 to Jarvis, who might well have been the best bowlers on that run-glut Saturday. The situation of the game as England came into the 4th day, West Indies 398 runs ahead, and the important thing was that England should get some wickets today very early, if at all possible. The West Indies would be looking for a lead of around about 500 before closing. That closure could come just before lunch, unless they were to be bowled out. We pick it up now with just 2 runs added to the overnight total. Dilly is coming into bowl to Jeffrey Dujon. Dilly will be having a few words to say to himself there. The one thing in the world he didn't want to do was provide a half volley on leg stump. And that's timed equally well. The ball really does run away down the hill towards the tavern or the mound stand. Another half century to Jeffrey Dujon. That is his 12th in Test cricket. He's hit 500s as well. Good player. Revenge for Paul Jarvis. Jeff Dujon goes. First blow for England this morning. Might just have been via the inside edge. Maybe only the replay will tell us that.
I think it probably just a very faint inside edge. The ball certainly cut him back, and certainly an inside edge.
This is Jarvis to Marshall. Well, Martin Moxon's been brought in to point. And so he might have been struggling to cut that off. Beautifully timed. That's very clever. And it worked too. It's even better. Sometimes the Yorker doesn't get through, but that's excellent bowling from Paul Jarvis.
Yes, that was tremendous by young Jarvis. Marshall threatening to come down the wicket, and he didn't pitch short. He got it right up in the block hole. Perfect reply.
Making a mess of that timber out there today, aren't they? Kirtley's gone. Now Logie has an even bigger problem in making those 19 runs. There's 8 wickets are down with a total on 380.
Well, at least the England bowlers are bowling straight. As Richard just said, the stumps all over the place again.
So now there's only Patterson left.
Good straight bowling from Graham Dilly, just a little bit of movement off the wicket into the batsman, and the tail ender not getting far enough forward with the left pad and allowing the ball to get between the bat and the pad.
3 balls to go, and this time the field in for Logie. That's a great shot. Over pitch, but knew exactly what he was trying to do. It wasn't a slug, it was a placed shot and hit very hard. Gucci's probably saying, well bowled, oh dear. There's the single. Well, that's out. Well bowled, Paul Jarvis, and bad luck to Gus Logie. He earned 100, just 5 short. And there's Logie, really, who's, well, he's done so much to place West Indies in this position of dominance. 397. All out. And that's what the little man did.
Yes, it was a great double for Gus Logie, and a pity that he was just 5 runs away from what would have been a marvellous century. 397, a splendid total from the West Indies, but full marks to those 2 bowlers this morning, Graham Dilley and Paul Jarvis, who did so well for England. They really worked hard out there, and they bowled sensibly. 4 wickets to each of them, 73 runs off Dilley and 107 off Jarvis. So this was the situation for England when they began their second innings. 441 runs the West Indies lead by. It's a big task for England. I suspect they will be looking only at a draw. We pick up the action now in the second over. Already 3 runs are on the board, 2 of them wides from Malcolm Marshall. Here's Patrick Patterson coming in from the pavilion end, and he's bowling to Graham Gooch. Good start for Gooch.
Yes, that's out. Great strike for Marshall. Gooch not all that far forward. And really a great assorted over, which has made the initial breakthrough. The bouncer, then beating Gooch outside off stump. And the ball nipping back up the slope. Well, Gooch had a difficult innings to play there, trying to survive that man Marshall if possible, and it wasn't. It does tend to inhibit the outlook of any opener, particularly when faced with such a huge deficit as England are. Malcolm Marshall's 80th wicket against England. This is how he got it. Lovely delivery coming back up the slope, catching Gooch half forward, pitching just outside. Not really much doubt about that. Marshall to Broad. Oh, that's out. And everybody highly delighted. Marshall, well, gracious me. If only he'd keep running and go to the dressing room, I think. Both England openers now in his bag. He toyed with the idea of going round the wicket to Chris Broad. Decided against it. Broad looking at the offending edge. There's the perfect delivery, pitching a round leg stump and just the right sort of nick for the keeper. That's nearly the high jump record.
Is it out? Gower waits. All the West Indians think that that was caught at third slip, and Gower did not. Now that's a clear case for Kenny Palmer to walk across to square leg, where David Shepherd might have a better view of it all. And Gower says yes, thank you very much, given out by square leg umpire, and accepts that. David Shepherd, the man who gave the ultimate decision. And of course, batsmen absolutely entitled to wait for the final adjudication by the square leg umpire if he's uncertain that the ball carried. Scorecard says Gower caught Richardson, bowled Patterson 1. 31 for 3. And Patrick Patterson prepares to bowl to the new batsman Alan Lamb. Good shot. Alan Lamb, at least on his 34th birthday, which is today, is off the mark. That's a good shot. There's space out there.
I think Alan Lamb's made his mind to give himself a little bit of room to the quicker bowlers, not get too far behind the line, and also to probably play a few shots as well.
Richie Richardson saying, was it a catch? Was it not a catch? Was it a bump ball?
Yes, as I say, your feet there completely anchored on leg stump, and the ball 2 foot wide of off, but the ball really flies over the top of the slips there.
Through the gap again. Almost relief as much as applause by the spectators for England's 50 up, 3 wickets down. Oh dear, dear, how do you play that? Yeah, I agree with you, Patrick. It's bad luck, and if you can reproduce a few of those, you cut a few batsmen in half.
Big crowd here for a 4th day.
Patterson off the field, so we're going to get a change of bowling at the pavilion end. And it's going to be Courtney Walsh going to bowl at that end.
That's a very fine glance for 4. Likes that shot. A good driver and a good player square of the wicket as well.
The cut shot is a very right-handed stroke with the bat coming down on top of the ball, and you need a little bit of width to play the shot efficiently, but Lamb plays it particularly well.
Go on to 33. Courtney Walsh.
No bad luck for Courtney Walsh. He really has bowled well in this test match without reaping just reward. Difficult to tell whether that quite carried. Lamb laid off the shot just fractionally, but you can see how much he's opened the face of the bat. 4 runs.
Yeah, it's to be Curtly Ambrose. Good shot from Alan Lamb. 37 for him.
Full pitch delivery. And the full blade of the bat going through the ball. Struck with power. No need to run.
through that gap between third slip and gully once again. Plenty of runs to play with for the West Indies.
Correct field, of course, when you've got such a huge lead, but very frustrating for the bowler to continuously have runs scored off you when you're really bowling rather well.
It's well bowled again.
As Graham Dilley left the bat of the right-hander so often, so has Courtney Walsh. He really has bowled very, very well indeed.
Good solid shot by Moxon. Three runs to Moxon, and England reach what has become a magical 3 wickets, 100 up off 197 balls, but for the loss of 3 wickets. And that's Lam's 50. Just beats Curtly Ambrose at the deep square leg boundary. That's a good 50 from Lamb. 8 fours in this half-century, and more than that, the first English batsman to break out and show some sort of domination over these West Indians. Oh, it's a beautiful throw. Marvellous throw. And poor Marty Moxon, after fighting it out for such a long time, squarely behind the ball, pushes the ball to mid-wicket, is sent back, stops, sees the direct throw smash the stumps, and he can't believe it.
Well, you can't think of a worse death than this. He's fought it out against the quicks, the bounce, the seam. Sets off here, and Alan Lamb seemed a little bit late in saying no there, but Moxon was certainly well down. To make a lot of ground to get back, which he failed to do.
How is that? And that's out. And Derek Pringle has gone. Just 5 minutes ago, Lamb and Moxon were going very tidily indeed, and had been for some time. First 1 wicket, and now bang on the pad, the second.
Ambrose to Downton. Well, all sorts of possibilities with that stroke, but in the end, 4 runs.
Short and wide. Just enough pace on it, more than anything else, to beat the fielder.
And there's another great square cut. It's only 10 yards away from third man, but he needn't have moved.
Well, when Lamb gets in, there's no more powerful player in the country. Stocky figure, and really crack that one away.
Well, and there's another one.
Well, Downton's pulled that fine. Just pulled around with the ball. Didn't smack it hard, just guided it around. And LBW. Well, Downton was beaten for pace there. He started back and then tried to get forward. He only had a fraction of a second to do so. It was slightly desperate forward movement. I think he finished up probably only about 9 inches in front of the batting crease. Not sure if that's a sigh of relief or
20 yards.
sigh of nerves, but whatever it is, John Embury's got his chin down out there. And his nose as well. And that combination of facial extremes has brought him another boundary. That's a fine shot from Alan Lamb. Just through mid-on, there was no man there. And even had there been, he'd have been struggling to cut it off. Third man's very square for Lamb. Too square as it turns out. So he now goes to 97. People who've waited here at the ground here partly to see if Lamb can reach his 100, even if it is 7:30 at night. Oh dear. Oh dear. That is real trouble. Ball has gone back onto the stumps, but much worse than that is the injury to Embury's hand. It's gone from hand down onto the off stump. So Embury is out, but that was a fearful blow. High full toss and struck him flush on the hand. There were 2 more runs added up to the close of play, both of them by Alan Lamb, and he went on to be 99 when stumps were drawn for the evening. With him is Gladstone Small on nought. Still to come tomorrow, Graham Dilley and Paul Jarvis. 214 for 7, and a splendid comeback there by Alan Lamb. The bowling figures: Marshall was terrific today, 18 overs, 4 maidens, 3 for 43. Patrick Patterson expensive, but he got the valuable wicket of David Gower. And Courtney Walsh once again had no great amount of luck in his 1 for 50. Curtly Ambrose picked up that wicket of John Embury, 1 for 30. Now, as England come into the final day, it's rather an academic task for them. They need 228 more runs to win, but the West Indies need only 3 wickets. I can show you a very interesting shot now, 20-8. That was the time when this 4th day's play finished. And the administrators who drew up the playing conditions for this tour and other tours as well in Australia and other countries, I think have something to answer for. That on the 4th day of this Cornhill Test at Lord's, a record should be established. The latest close of play in 111 years of Test match cricket.